National Conference President Farooq Abdullah has defended his statement on the Hurriyat. He has said that if the ruling Jammu and Kashmir alliance bats for talks with all stakeholders in the state, including Hurriyat, why is there any controversy over what he said? Remember, he had said that he is with the Hurriyat in their movement if factions of the separatist groups unite. Listen in.
The government that is ruling today in Jammu and Kashmir, both BJP and PDP, have put in their working condition talking to everybody, and agenda of working has shown that in lines, and they have put that Hurriyat has to also be talked to. So where are the anti-national? If BJP and PDP are saying that they have to be talked to, they can't talk to anti-national people.
Ashrafani is now joining us live on that story. Now, the Hurriyat is one which for the last few months since the encounter of Burhan Wani has practically held the entire valley hostage. Does Farooq Abdullah still say that this is something that is for the benefit of people of Kashmir and the National Conference is backing this agenda of the separatists? Ashraf?
Padmija, basically, these are not new statements from the National Conference, and particularly from the patron of the National Conference and former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Farooq Abdullah. He earlier also said that so many controversial statements he said, but in this particular statement, it was the first time when completely National Conference, being the biggest, largest party, one of the biggest, largest parties in the Jammu and Kashmir state, clearly its leader said that we are going to support Hurriyat for its cause. So many questions were raised on this statement. Even the Mehbooba Mufti said that now it is the proof that whatever happened for last 5 months of unrest in the Kashmir Valley, National Conference was a party among other separatists. So that was, but today defining and justifying his statement, it is true that when the when any regional political party of Jammu and Kashmir is in power, they say something different, and when they are in opposition, they come on the political ground of the separatists. They feel that probably that will be a kind of getting the larger mandate in the Kashmir Valley. This experience was also being adopted by Mehbooba Mufti herself. When she was not in power, she was a kind of spokesperson for the separatists in the Kashmir Valley, but when she now resumed power, she is speaking against them. Same is the formula with the National Conference. When they are in power, they always speak against the separatists and their policies, but when they are in opposition, they speak and have the soft tone for the separatists in the Kashmir.
Do you find that now, in fact, the PDP and the National Conference have exactly swapped their positions, with the National Conference now sounding like a soft separatist and the PDP in government, in fact, in alliance with the BJP?
Padmuja, basically they are trying to fish in the troubled waters. Basically, the National Conference know that after some recent statements, after the unrest in the Kashmir Valley, particularly the statement the Mehbooba Mufti, Chief Minister of the JNK state, gave with the Home Minister Rajnath Singh during the press conference in Srinagar, where she said that she believes that all those killed were not only the innocent boys and girls in the Kashmir Valley during the unrest, but there were some also who were involved in the stone pelting incidents. That is why the security forces fired upon them. But on that side, after that, there is a kind of anger among masses, and particularly among the separatists towards the Mehbooba Mufti and Chief Minister of the state. Now to gather those that support and to keep those voters with them, National Conference leader has given this kind of a signal and statement in the Kashmir Valley. Basically, after few months, the parliamentary elections for 2 Lok Sabha seats are due in the Jammu and Kashmir state, that of Anantnag and Srinagar, due to the resignation of the PDP MP from Srinagar, and also due to the Chief Minister post taken by the Mehbooba Mufti, who was already the MP from Anantnag. So keeping those 2 parliamentary elections in the mind, National Conference is really doing the politics to grab more and more support of separatists in the Kashmir Valley.
Just stay with me, Ashraf, because Ravinder Raina of the BJP is also with us on the phone line. Now, Mr. Raina, can Farooq Abdullah be faulted for what he has said, considering that your agenda for alliance, and he himself has pointed it out today, actually mentions that all stakeholders must be spoken to, including the separatists, which also means the Hurriyat?
See, Dr. Farooq Abdullah is playing dirty politics all over this issue and turmoil in Jammu and Kashmir, particularly in Kashmir Valley. Yes, one of the participants who was speaking before me, he was absolutely right when he said that for keeping in mind the upcoming parliament election and by-elections of some of the seats, Farooq Abdullah is playing dirty politics. He has forgotten his previous statement. It was the same Dr. Farooq Abdullah who in 1996, after becoming the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, when there was an terrorist attack on Jammu and Kashmir Assembly Hall in Srinagar, it was the same Dr. Farooq Abdullah who challenged all these people of Hurriyat conference, who challenged Pakistan. And once there is a recorded statement of Dr. Farooq Abdullah when he said, Mr. Gilani, you was born as an Indian and you will die as an Indian. When these people remain at the helm of affairs, when they enjoy the luxuries of power, they do something else, they speak something else, and then they, because of their anti-people's policy, when they are thrown out of power, they used to instigate people against India, against nation. This is a dirty part of politics of Dr. Farooq Abdullah and his associates.
But let me also ask you this, Mr. Raina, that if you're accusing Farooq Abdullah of that, Mehbooba Mufti is also calling for unconditional dialogues with the Hurriyat. And she said this just a few days ago.
See, when there were many voices about the talks to the separatist organization, Honorable Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh, when he arrived Srinagar, and he asked all those who wants to have dialogue with the delegation, everybody was all set to discuss, but all sorts of dialogues will go under the ambit of Indian Constitution. We will never allow anybody who instigates, who carries the agenda of Pakistan, that no such organization will be taken into board. No such talks with all such kind of organization.
Okay, so you say that there will be no dialogue with them. Then why is your chief minister not listening to you? Then why is the chief minister not listening to the BJP? Let me also get in Sushil Pandit, a prominent activist. He's also with us on the phone line. Sushil Pandit, it's very curious and it's simple politics actually, because here is a space which is vacated by Mehbooba Mufti, who is now in alliance with the BJP, and the National Conference has conveniently taken it up.
Yes, Padmaja, the problem is Farooq Abdullah may have said whatever he did, and he is the worst specimen of this kind of politics, which is essentially a blackmail politics for Indian state. But both sides of the coin, which is PDP and National Conference, have been practicing it through the years. Whenever they want center to cuff up concessions, they indulge in this kind of a blackmail. They flash their separatist and pro-Pakistani tendencies. They play this trump in order to bring the center down to its knees. And what Delhi has been doing all this while is run to them, because Delhi has invested in these characters over the decades. Delhi has put all their eggs in these baskets, and therefore Delhi is compelled to listen to them, kowtow to them, and concede to them.
But why any more, Sushil Pandit? Why any more? You have a stable alliance with the PDP. The National Conference is not any way threatening your government. Then why listen to the kind of things that Farooq Abdullah is saying and bear with it?
I'll tell you why. Till 15 years ago, National Conference was the only party in Kashmir, and therefore the state was literally held on a ransom by National Conference. Then the second party was allowed to came into being, was actually nudged and encouraged to form itself in the fond hope that this competitive democratic Kashmir would bring in sense of order, sanity, and in their competitive zeal, they will not indulge in this kind of a blackmail which emerges from a monopolization by one party. But what has happened is, they, in order to compete with each other, have been actually escalating the separatist agenda and separatist politics. They have gone down this spiral in successive years in order to beat each other into co-opting separatist demands and separatist grievance mongering. Which is why whenever one of the two is in opposition, it indulges in this favorite pastime and tries to curry favor with the separatist mindset.
And let me ask you this, Ravinder Rena, since you are now in alliance with the PDP, why don't you have your alliance partner condemn the Hurriyat and Farooq Abdullah's statements in no unequivocal terms?
They will never do it. They will never do it. BJP has actually taken a bystander kind of role, a helpless spectator kind of role for itself.
Just hold on for a second, Sushil Pandit, because I also want to get Mustafa Kamal of the National Conference. How can you advocate support for a group, for the Hurriyat, Mustafa Kamal, which has been instrumental in fomenting trouble in the valley most recently for the last 4 months?
Now, the most unfortunate thing is that when Mr. Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister, he invited the Hurriyat to Delhi and had discussions with them. Then when Mr. Vajpayee was the Prime Minister, he invited Hurriyat to Delhi and talked to the Hurriyat. And now if Dr. Farooq extends the National Conference support to the Hurriyat in its effort to see that the problem of Jammu and Kashmir is
Mr. Mustafa Kamal, let me rephrase my question. You have pledged, Dr. Farooq Abdullah has pledged the support of your party to the Hurriyat for its activities. What activities are you going to support them in exactly? What are these humanitarian activities that the Hurriyat is conducting in Jammu and Kashmir, which you are going to support them in?
Why don't you criticize the BJP and PDP common minimum program or agenda of alliance?
Mr. Mustafa Kamal, that's exactly what we are doing. We just asked the BJP, if you heard, that's exactly what we asked them. That how could they reach out, how could they mention reaching out to all stakeholders, including the Hurriyat? What stake does the Hurriyat have anyway in Kashmir?
A party attached to the grassroots of JNK. Naturally, everybody is criticizing it.
But Mr. Kamal, we have criticized that. Having said that, can you please ask me what activities of the Hurriyat is the National Conference pledging its support to?
The Hurriyat is agitating at this time to see that New Delhi sees reason in our long demand of putting an end to this suffering of the people, especially since 1990,
So to rephrase what you are saying, with the Hurriyat shutting down schools for 4 months, pelting stones, inciting young men to pelt stones at the armed forces, all of that has the Hurriyat support?
We are not in favor of violence.
You're in favor of the schools being shut down, businesses languishing.
We are not in favor of communal divide.
So you know that the shutdown calendar was issued by the Hurriyat. And you endorse that?
Not to delay. 26 years on, army is deployed here for the last 26 years. And the amount of death and destruction that we have seen.
But Mr. Mustafa Kamal, you're not answering my question. You're again obfuscating by going onto a tangent. My question to you was, the Hurriyat has single-handedly crippled the tourist season, the businesses, education in the valley for the last 4 months. You're endorsing it and lending your support to all of these activities?
What is this? Don't make a monster of Hurriyat. What is the strength of Hurriyat? Hurriyat's strength is people listen to them. People listen to their diktats, and it is the public support that the amalgam called the Hurriyat has got.
So are you endorsing it? So are you
We have
endorsing
thrown
it?
our lot with them
Are you endorsing
on
what the
this
Hurriyat
condition
did?
That they will continue to work for bringing an end to this senseless mayhem, destruction and violence and death.
Sushil Pandit, would you like to respond to what you just heard? So essentially, we
Yes.
are to assume that all of these activities of the Hurriyat have the sanction and the support of the National Conference.
Don't put words
Padmaja, Mustafa Kamal is the worst specimen in National Conference to you should be talking to. This man has actually accused army of staging bomb blasts and then defaming. This man has time and again accused India of genocide, of all kinds of ridiculous things. He is the worst of the loose cannon in National Conference. You look at, he's a history sheeter of misstatements since about 6-7 years. Mustafa Kamal is not the right person to be delivering homilies to us. Number one. Number two.
downright liar.
Dr. Mustafa Kamal, I know you can pass off as some kind of a stranger to whoever else you may want to. I know you through and through. You have a huge record to be ashamed of. Kindly keep quiet. And number two, Padmaja, the point is, they are running with the hare and hunting with the hound. Today, National Conference is desperate. Farooq Abdullah has lost the first election of his life when he was routed in Lok Sabha. Today, when they say that Hurriyat commands the popular support, it is out of this frustration that they are on a losing spree in elections. They have been humiliated.
So
Their
Mustafa
government
Kamal,
was
is
routed.
this your political frustration and you're willing to take a shot at power at whatever cost? Even if it means in assisting the Hurriyat?
Contemptuous, you seem to derive your own conclusions that we are after power, we are power hungry, that's why we are supporting
So Mr. Kamal, what
New
explains
Delhi-
your support for the
New
Hurriyat?
Delhi- on the New Delhi's target, National Conference has been there right since 1953. So I'm not upset with the remarks of your panelists here. National Conference is a force that has kept the state together.
No, we are not asking for an education in the history of the National Conference. My limited question to you was, how can you explain your support to the Hurriyat if not if this is not a desperation for coming back to power?
And they are ruling us through their arm, through their army, through their armed forces.
Mustafa Kamal, can you forget the fact that between 1987 and 1990, you were in power and your allies Congress was in power at center. You were responsible for a genocide of Kashmiri Hindus in the valley. It is because of you that army had to be summoned. Army was not there when you were ruling Kashmir between 1987 and 1990. Army had to be called because you had freed militants who were caught on the border. You had let boys to go across to Pakistan to get trained and get armed and cause terrorism in India. You are the one running the border. Cross for this.
You are visibly to cross borders.
When things
You are militants under your headquarters
ran away to
and
London.
then blame us for it.
He resigned.
What is the army doing at the border?
Resignation, there were 6 years of
Why did they come in
rule.
unchallenged?
State could not govern. Farooq Abdullah brought
You are the
it to
one
such a brink of disaster
who have set the
that you
entire
had to
Jammu and
call the
Kashmir on
army
fire.
and state had to be ruled by a
And
governor
India
for
has to
6
pay a price
years.
for it.
For 6 years. And
Sooner
then
or
when
later.
elections were held again, Farooq Abdullah happily comes back to take power again. What kind of cynicism was this? You have ruined the state in the last 6
What are you
years.
talking about?
Yes, I am talking
What is
about
wrong in
facts.
that?
In 1990, Farooq
What
Abdullah
is
was
wrong in
chief
that?
minister and he ran away. And 96, he comes back to put the state back into ruin. And you ask what is wrong with that?
Exactly. Mustafa Kamal, finally, after almost 5 months, there's a semblance of peace in the valley. Why are you trying to muddy waters? When finally the schools have reopened, businesses have restarted, why are you muddying waters? What kind of cynical politics is
In a
this?
prominent newspaper of Kashmir, the Greater Kashmir of 22nd September 1990. How Kashmiri Pandits have apologized to the Muslims of Jammu and Kashmir.
I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Kamal, can you please restrict yourself to the point at hand? Can you please restrict yourself to the point at hand? My question to you is, when finally there is a semblance of normalcy returning to Kashmir, why are you
What
trying to
normalcy?
muddy waters by elevating the status of the lives of the Hurriyat?
Normalcy in Kashmir? What is your yardstick of establishing normalcy in Kashmir?
Withdraw all his PSS, all his security, and walk through all these downtown areas in Kashmir Valley. Ask them. Ask them to withdraw security.
Okay, wait. Ravinder Raina wants to ask you a question, Mr.
On one hand, our Jawans are protecting the lives of all these politicians, and now they are making all sorts of dirty statements over here. Very unfortunate. All these people are doing the dirty statements, and the people know them. Had there been such kind of all sorts of there.
Militancy was engineered, and the scheme was made by Delhi.
No, Mr. Mustafa Kamal, you're not. Just a second. Hold on a second. Again, you've gone back to the 80s. Please hold on a second. Ravinder Raina, what is your question? Can you please phrase your question?
What you people did, totally blunders in Kashmir, only looting the exchequer of the common people. That which resulted the frustration in the common people in Kashmir. What do you mean by looting exchequer? You are diverting the concentration of all people and just directing towards Pakistan. And I this is the frustration in the people and they are making such kind of neighbor.
Yes, of course, we have to live with our neighbors, sir, but we don't have to live with the terrorism that they send into our country. There's a vast difference, but Mr. Mustafa Kamal... Mr. Mustafa Kamal, please. Can we, Ravinder Raina, just a second. Mr. Mustafa Kamal, again, I would like to readdress my question to you, which you still haven't answered, which is, you have pledged your support to the Hurriyat. For what? In doing what?
Read the whole speech which Dr. Farooq Abdullah has made at the Bazaar of Sher Kashmir.
Yes.
He said, as long as you are on the right path is to see that the present misery that the people of Jammu and Kashmir, particularly Kashmir, is in since 1990, is ended. And as long as you're on that path, we are with you.
Mr. Mustafa Kamal, haven't you been able to gauge over the last few years, and in fact, why go back to the last few years, the last 4 months, that what the Hurriyat's agenda really is? Haven't you been able to gauge that this right path that you speak of, they're not interested in it?
Ask Pulat. It's a known fact.
Sorry, what is a known fact?
Known fact is these are the products of agencies.
So if they are products of agencies, then why are you supporting them? If there are products of agencies, then why are you supporting them?
To sort out things as far as Kashmir is concerned and to bring peace, we are with them. But if you say our history, then you should know their history as well.
Mr. Kamal, you think that the Hurriyat is going to bring peace to Kashmir?
No, they must look at their own selves, please. They keep on fighting because it's a national
and one political party, you should not advocate for Pakistan. You should not. If you want to remain in politics, then you should advocate for
Okay, wait a second. I also want to bring in some perspective from, again from Sushil Pandit. Is this a case of the National Conference feeling left out because finally you have things getting back to normal in Kashmir and an effort perhaps to try and muddy the waters again, Sushil Pandit?
Yes, actually National Conference, till such time it is in opposition, does not still because it minimizes their relevance. If without them intervening in order to restore some order, things happen by themselves or something else, their importance, their value gets lowered. So they are interested in keeping the pot boiling. They want to keep stirring the pot in order to create more and more risk for themselves. And because they are willing to go to any itself. This is why the unilateral support to the conference. And in this, they will go to any extent.
Absolutely. And Mr. Kamal, before you respond to that, it all follows to pattern, because over the last 3 days, we've had various leaders of your party first say, let's talk to the Hurriyat. Secondly, say that, as far as Pakistan's export of terrorism is concerned, please hear me out. Pakistan is not to be blamed because India is the one provoking them, almost giving Pakistan a clean sheet as far as terrorism is concerned. What is this effort? What are you trying to do?
How do you conclude that it's giving a clean sheet to Pakistan for terrorism? What conclusion? How will you draw this?
Well,
conclusion?
if you're saying that Pakistan's aggression is because India provoked them, what else are you doing except give them a clean sheet?
That's a known fact. The defense minister of the country has been making statements that is provocative. There are sensitive people on
So
this
what
side
are we
of the-
saying? If the defense minister says that India will do everything possible to keep its interests and its citizens safe, how is that provocative? What are we supposed to say? That you keep shelling and killing our civilians and we'll take it lying down? To say that we'll keep our interests safe is provocation?
Listen, for God's sake, the other side of Kashmir, which is called the Pakistan-occupied Kashmir or Azad Kashmir, who handed that over to Pakistan? It's New Delhi, by brokering a ceasefire through the United Nations.
All right.
In
I
1900.
think in this debate, the best judge is going to be the people of Kashmir. And I'm sure they can see through all of the cynical politics which is being conducted in their name. For now, thank you very much, Sushil Pandit, Ravinder Raina and Mustafa Kamal for joining us. In fact, even as we speak, Bajrang Dal is holding protests in Kashmir over the statement made by Farooq Abdullah. This is what he said, which is inviting protests.
The government that is ruling today in Jammu and Kashmir, both BJP and PDP, have put in their working condition talking to everybody. And agenda of working has shown that in lines, and they have put that Hurriyat has to also be talked to. So where are the anti-nationals? If BJP and PDP are saying that they have to be talked to, they can't talk to anti-nationals.